Hello everyone, I'm Alan Cathcart. I'm from England and I'm here in beautiful Barcelona hinterland, the inland of Catalonia, where the white wine, the Penedès wine, is grown. And behind me you can see the mystical magic mountain of Montserrat, which used to have a hill climb for cars and bikes up the side of it. Very, very dangerous, very demanding, but also a lot of fun to ride nowadays on a bike like this. What is this? This is the Royal Enfield 450 Gariela with 2 R's and 2 L's. This is, I guess, Royal Enfield's middleweight 450 Street Fighter Gariela. They've launched it on the basis of the Himalayan, as they say, Himalayan as most other people do, not from India. And the Himalayan was completely renovated, completely rethought earlier this year with a new version of the 450cc double overhead cam 4-valve engine. They've redeveloped it using essentially the same chassis as the Himalayan, but that had a 21-inch front wheel because it's a dual-purpose motorcycle. This has 17-inch wheels front and back. And that denotes the kind of bike it is. It's a really fun sports bike to ride, especially on the twisting switchback roads, beautifully serviced with EU money, of Catalonia. The engine is a remarkable piece of development because it pulls really strongly from 3,500 revs right up to the 8,000 and some rev limit, 8,700 I think it is. And you have this great mid-range torque that makes it easy to swoop between hairpin turns. You can drop it down into bottom gear very easily. The gearbox is flawless. You can even change up without using the clutch and down as well. It's a two-way power shifter without having a power shifter fitted. Okay, you have to use the clutch for the lower gears. It's rewarding because the steering geometry is different than the Himalayan, and they've made it into a street fighter by reducing the size of the front wheel, 21 to 18. So that means that the bike has been dropped in the front. The suspension is Showa Big Fork technology, which Royal Enfield has developed. I have to say that it's meant to be a 70s retro bike born again. The designers talked of the Yamaha RD 400 as being their initial start-out point. Yes, okay, but that means they wanted to have not upside-down forks, gated forks as a retro design cue. Okay, but I don't think that goes particularly well with this monoshock rear end. It should have a twin shock if you're going to have gated forks. That's purely aesthetics. Function, they work really, really well. And the thing that I'm in a way most impressed with is the Seat front tyre, which has been specially developed by the Indian company for this motorcycle. Huge amounts of edge grip. Admittedly, the tarmac, the road surfaces around here are super grippy, but you can exploit the front tyre and that'll allow you to carry remarkable amounts of turn speed. When you get back on the throttle again, the rear tyre hooks up really well, but that's particularly thanks to the rear shock. Again, a Showa, modified or developed in conjunction with Royal Enfield. And this has a rising rate link on it. This gives a very good degree of ride comfort, even over relatively broken surfaces. But you can also feel how, as you're coming out of a corner, the rear suspension does squat slightly, but it still keeps on working if you're riding over a bump. And most important of all, it doesn't squat too much, and then that starts pushing the front wheel and heading off to the hedges. It's very capable and well refined, and I really enjoyed riding it. The engine is a design feature as well, because we've got the cylinder canted forward apparently about 17 degrees, and that helps load up the front end for braking. When you brake on the angle, it's only got a single front disc, a bi-bray, Brembo's Indian partner, calipers. But again, the fork has been set up really well, so it doesn't dive on right down steeply. It just, you have the sensation of braking, but without this sudden falling on its face that you do get with some bikes of this category. What is this category? Well, it's a street fighter, make no mistake about it. but also an everyday practical motorcycle that a lot of people will find excuses to go the long way around from their start-out point to their destination, because it's really enjoyable to ride. I like the rider triangle, so the seat to footrest to handlebar is a relaxed position. You're sitting relatively upright, but it feels really good for quite a long ride. We just did an hour and a half ride to get here. I find the seat a little bit thinly padded. I was getting slightly sore bum, numb bum syndrome after the morning ride, and okay, that just may be my particular physical build, but I think that could be improved on. Otherwise, I think that it's a great looking design. They have a variety of colors. This is the Barcelona taxi version, yellow and black. And they do a great blue and white version. I can't remember the fancy name that Royal Enfield have given it, but I noticed that that is the higher priced option out of the 3 different colors that are available. Price. In Britain, it's a real killer price, £4,850 on the road. So right out of the dealership for that amount of money. That's not very much. It's a lot of bite for the money, and I think that Royal Enfield deserves credit for having produced it. It has 2 riding modes, and the sportier one of the 2 gives really good acceleration. It's also the platform, unquestionably, for a whole series of bikes using this engine. I'm sure they'll make a street scrambler, because after all, this is in India squarely pitched at their competition from Bajaj and Triumph, the new Triumph 400. I guess it'll be pitched against it everywhere else too. So this is a little bit more engine for the money. 450 is against 400cc, so a little bit more performance. The Triumph is priced in England at £50 more than this Royal Enfield, so it's going to be interesting to see how they get on competing in the market. Street Scrambler surely will come, but I suspect also they'll have a cafe racer, because this bike demands a version with lower handlebars, maybe a half fairing, could even be a full fairing, but certainly a half fairing, and the steering geometry of this bike with a sportier build would be really, really enjoyable to ride. So well done, Enfield. I think you've done a good job on this, and looking forward to riding other different versions in future. Gariela.